Okay. Anybody has any basic idea what NumPy is?
It's a dictionary about handling numerical Python, like that.
Okay. Okay. What about others?
Um, I just know about it as a Python module, which you can use for numerical functions and basically work with C. Well, under the hood, it's implemented in C, so kind of use C with Python.
Sorry, did you mention it as C?
Yes, I think so. Like
Can you
under the
elaborate
hood,
on that? I didn't
like,
understand that part.
oh, I meant to say that I think I've read it somewhere. The NumPy module was like it is basically running in C in lower level, but we use it in Python. But I've read it like that. I haven't checked it.
Okay. So I'll correct on that part. Like you can run NumPy in any languages. Like basically it doesn't run, it doesn't comes up from the C. The idea of
Okay.
NumPy is that it's just an array. How you handle those array. It's like kind of scientific numerical thing. So we use NumPy for that one.
Okay. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So for today's session, like what we'll do is we'll study what is NumPy and like where do we use that one, and we'll see simple like creation of NumPys and different data types in NumPys we'll see. Okay, coming into NumPy, right? So NumPy is kind of just basically your arrays. So what we do using this arrays, like we'll use uh, mathematical equations and other scientific equations. So for that reason, we'll use NumPy because NumPy is already built in so many libraries functions uh, for utilization of this numerical computation. So you don't have to write each and every function every time. So for that reason, NumPy is best for using for computing for machine learning things. So we use NumPy. Okay. So what is the key difference between NumPy and an array? Anybody knows? So basically, NumPy are also similar to array itself. The key advantage using NumPy is that uh, one thing is that do you know one dimension, two dimension, and three dimension things? So have you studied it somewhere? Anyone?
So, like
It
in
doesn't needs to be about computing
coordinate
language. This
geometry.
just yeah, coordinate geometry. Can you tell like what's the key difference? One dimension, two dimension, and three dimension.
Uh, Sir, like in one dimension, like variables can only change in like only one variable can change, but in two dimensions, two variables will be changing, and in three variables will be changing.
Okay. So if I want to give example for that one dimension is a point. So two dimension is a line, and three dimension is your 3D objects like where you use in all XYZ axis. So similar way, this NumPy allows arrays in three dimension up to three dimensions. Uh, so I'll tell you as we go on like the difference between this one dimension, two dimension, and three dimension.
Excuse me,
So
sir.
make sure, yeah,
So is a one-dimensional array similar to a list?
yeah, it's similar to list. One dimension is similar to list itself.
Okay.
So what I want to do is in your open your Visual Studio Code and run this command pip install numpy. Share it in the chat itself. So execute this command in your terminal. So in my case, I already installed the NumPy, so requirements already exist. So once you're done installing NumPy, like you can install and just message in the group like that you have completed it. So it's pip install NumPy. So as I was telling, right? So why do we use NumPy? So coming into advantages of NumPy, like it's uh, very faster compared to your normal computation. How you use your RS list and dictionaries, like so. If we use NumPy, it's like little bit faster. What makes it faster is that like how they uh, kind of store the data and how they do the operation with the data. So based on that one, NumPy like it's little bit faster. So once it runs faster, right? So your computation also reduces. So that doesn't burden your CPU or something like that. And how we store this data also, it matters in machine learning. Like when you code for your large data set or something like that, right? So memory is more important. So NumPy is more memory efficient. So as we see, like there is a huge community for NumPy. Most of them use NumPy itself for machine learning, data science, and other computation things. So this is widely used. Any doubts till now? And I hope everyone has installed NumPy, completed. So I want you to try this example, import NumPy SNP, like after you install, and then just create a simple np.array, and then we'll print that one. Let me just correct this one. I'll install the latest NumPy. So it's giving me some error. Just a minute. My screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what we need to do is like, since we have named it as numpy.py, right? So we are importing the same library name. So it was throwing me that error. So what I did was like, I just changed the file name. So numpy1.py. So if I do that one, like it will work properly. So don't name your file as numpy.py. So rename that file name. And then if you can see like a simple array has been created. This is an numpy array. So I'm repeating once again. Change the file name to something else.py and then execute this one. So if you want, like I want everyone to try this example. Try this example and just show me your output. Mm, just tell it to something. How about Sibinath? Can you execute this code and will you be able to explain this one?
Yes, sir, I'll try.
Okay.
Can I
So
share the screen, sir?
yeah, you can share your screen. Also, I'll give one more person. Ashrit, can you take this one up and then just go through the code and just keep it ready?
So I need to keep it ready. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
Cool.
yeah, if Sibinit is not able to do, like, just give it to you. So just give 2 minutes, like you can just prepare.
So can I share the screen?
Sibinath, are you ready?
Sir, I'm facing a issue called NP is not defined.
Like import numpy SNP.
Okay, sir.
So, so add this line.
Done, sir.
Okay, Ashrit, can you share your screen and execute this one? Like explain this one, if you have understood this code.
Okay, I'll Okay, so
Yes. I don't need it to be completely detailed explanation. Just
yeah.
what you got the output and how is your understanding. I just wanted to, because
So I'll
these are
start.
already done.
Mhm.
This is just like kind of doing it in a different way. That's it.
Okay, I'll start sharing my screen, sir.
Yeah, I can share.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So first things, we are importing two modules, NumPy and time. We use time to keep track of how much time it takes for whatever function we are doing. We're creating a list of range, I don't know, what is this? 10 lakhs. And then we're creating an array using NumPy. So that's up to line 6. On line 9, we start a timer. And then line 10, we go to have we create the square root of each number in their list L, and then you're going to print out the list and then time, the current time minus the start time. And we're going to do the same thing for numpy array also. We're going to like store the start time in a variable called start, and then you're using numpy dot square root a for the whole array. Dot square root a, in sense it's going to square root each and every element in the array, and then you're going to print numpy and then the time taken to square root the whole array, which is the current time minus the starting time.
Okay. Can you execute this code? Run this code.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I am. Oh,
Okay, I forgot to give this imports.
import map.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So can you print that map dot square root of I? So that will give you the list of see what I was trying to prove over is that like, if you can see those time, right? So in order to calculate the square root of the range of all those numbers, like in order to calculate those time. So if you see through the list, right? So it would take
Yes.
0.15 seconds. So but if you try
Yeah.
to do it with NumPy, so that's 0.005. So
Five.
when it comes to computation, right? So in machine learning, like this is a huge difference.
Mm.
So if you, it's the same thing what you're doing. It's the same function, trying to find out the square root of some of
Mm.
the numbers and those everything like kind of thing. So you can see the whole difference, right? So computation for
Yes, sir.
doing it using Python, using it
Yes,
but
yes.
doing it using NumPy. So that is the key difference over here.
Mm-hmm.
So continue. Can you stop sharing the screen and share?
Oh, yeah. Sure, sir.
So everyone has created a sample array, right? So what you do is like create one more array. This is a two-dimensional array. I mentioned, right? So NumPy arrays can take up to 1 dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimension, and so on. So execute this one. So give it to you guys. And you can give some other values inside for your array. So if you can see the key difference over here, you can see like two arrays has been created, right? So first one is your single dimensional array. That is just like your normal arrays how we create. So we'll be having the list. So in that list, we'll be updating. So it's like kind of having multiple dictionaries, like kind of with a direct keys over here. So it's in 2 dimension, it's similar that way. Then coming into 3 dimension also, I'll show you. So, so if you can see this array, right? So 1 dimensional array, 5, 7, 6, 8, like kind of it's in 1 dimension. I'll just take it up. So this is 1 dimensional array. So this is a 2 dimensional array. So two different array elements I can keep inside single array. So this is 2 dimensional array. So when you come to 3 dimensional array, right? So I can keep multiple 2 dimensional and so many arrays inside one single array. So like kind of it's like adding more arrays inside each array. So for example, if I want to add more arrays inside that particular array, right? So I can add that one. So any doubts on this 1 dimensional and 2 dimensional array? If you want, like in next class, I can take some basics on arrays. So that would help you to understand this proper way of arrays handling and those kind of things. So that in next class, like I take the only the theory part for arrays. Is that fine?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So like you'll be having some different properties. Like if you get an array, like you'll be seeing those the dimension, like dimension since how many elements are there inside the array, like how many variables. Like you'll be able to see those things in Python also, right? So NumPy also support the same thing in uh, array handling. So in order to get those properties, so if I want to get the shape, so if you see over here, right? So I don't know like what's the array dimension over here. So what's the shape, like how many elements are there inside that one. So using this functions kind of thing, like we can get those the details of the properties of the array. So if I give array dot shape, like what's the array, or else np dot shape n dimension d type if I give, so it will try to give me the details of the arrays. So I'll try to show one example. Okay. So what we're trying to do is like I'll try to get the shape of b and c. So print b. So similar way, I'll try to find the shape of c also. So if you can see over here, right? So 2 comma 4. So there are two columns, sorry, 2 rows and 4 columns. If you come over here, like it comes into 3 dimensions. So there are two arrays with two array elements once again inside and four columns kind of thing. So it's giving me the shape. So our data is distributed inside each array. So this is one np.shape. So then we also have other things, right? np.end dimension. Let's try this end dimension and size. Think size will say. So if you can see over here, right? So np.shape, like only 5 values are there. So it's giving me 5. And the dimension is one dimension. And then size is like 5 values are there. So it's giving you that 5 values. And then coming into your 2-dimensional array. So 2 comma 4. So 2 rows and columns will consider. Then if you can see, it tells that dimension is 2-dimensional. And then 8 values are there, 8 elements are there. Then coming into your 3-dimension, 2 comma 2 comma 4. Yeah, it's telling me that it's 3-dimensional array. And then like a total of 16 values are there. So this is just like getting the properties of your arrays. So any doubts on this one?
No, sir.
So can anyone tell me, like from your understanding, you've seen this 3-dimensional array, right? Can anyone tell me like real place application? Like I don't want you to explain or something, like you can just give me some reference or something like that. Have you seen 3-dimensional array somewhere or something like that? Anyone?
Um, so I think medical image. Okay. So for medical imaging,
Okay. Anything particular for medical imaging? If you
so,
consider medical imaging, right? Like
so
I'll tell you
MRI
this.
scans, CT scans.
So medical images, when you consider, so if you take images, like what do you see over here? Can anyone tell me like what do you see in these images? It's just simple answer. Like it doesn't have to be technical or something like that. What do you see in this? If I take one image, right, PNG image or JPG image or something like that, what do you see?
An image of a deer.
Okay, image of a deer. So, like, if you want to like kind of tell it what it is like in terms of, okay, is it a colored image or a white and black image?
Colored.
So if I take an image, colored image, right? So there will be three color components. What are those? Three primary colors or secondary colors, you call them. So can you name those primary colors
Blue,
when you
green.
come to digital images?
So red, blue, yellow.
Red,
Oh,
blue, and
sorry,
yellow.
green, green. Shit.
Green, yeah. Okay. So when you come to digital images, right? So there is one key concept called as RGB images. So RGB images, what it does is like, okay, in order to get example, so I'll come to your medical images. Okay, so if I consider this image, right, how many colors can you see over here?
So white and black.
Okay, so white and black only, you should be able to see white and black, right? So if I want to consider this into pixel wise, so like if I want to tell, let me just take Excel itself. Excel is better. Okay, so do you know like what we consider as pixels, pixel resolution? Do you know something like that? Those concepts? I'll just teach in next class in details. Like, do you know like what is resolution of an image?
So the number of pixels there is in an image. I mean, the number of
So if I,
pixels in an image.
okay, if you go to any images, this you download, right? So save images, save. And then once I go to this medical images, show more of its properties. So if you come to this properties, right? So if you go into your details, so you should be able to see width and height over here. So that gives the details of how many pixels are there in the image. So, okay, it's saving as WP file and just download one JPG image. Okay, I'll just some other time I'll just take one JPEG image and I'll just show it to you. So as of now, think that pixels is like kind of your arrays. So you'll be having height and width, right? So it's in two dimensions. So height and width. And if I take how many cells are there over here? So it's like so 24. So 24 rows are there. And then how many columns? 9 columns. So this is the resolution size of my image, like if I want to consider. So this is just a representation. This is not the actual image. And then what I'll do is like just paint this one out. So okay, can I do one thing? I'll completely cover it in black. Just completely black image, right? So if I want to type some spelling or something. So we do have appreciate here. Okay. Well, so I'll start with some letter L. So what are you seeing now? Like in the image, like if you consider this as image, what are you seeing now?
a straight line of pixels being in white color.
Okay. So if I want to make it L, like what I have to do now?
Paint the bottom part towards the left in white.
Okay. So this is how your images are in black and white. So if I want to get L, so if you see that 24 cross 9 is there, right? So most of the pixels are black in color. And if you consider this one E of 24, from E of 11 to 24, it's white. And then E of 24, 23, and kind of, if you consider this way, right? So these values are white. So similar way, if I want to write it as numpy array, just consider same. So I'll border this one out. So when it comes to numpy, right? So how this image will be considered in numpy, I'll just tell you. So values, anyone knows like how these values are stored black and white in the system?
And
So if
hex
like,
codes
sorry,
and hex code.
okay, somewhat correct, but okay. For example, if you have a TV, right? So everyone would be having your LCD TV. So if it is off, like what will be the color? So if your TV is off, what is the color of the screen?
Black.
Okay, so black. So if it is off, so it's black, right? So if it is on, you'll be able to see the colors. So what we consider is like when we come to black and white in computer processing or something like that. So we'll consider 0 and 1. So 0 is off state and 1 is like complete on state. So using this two values, so we'll consider 0 as black and 1 as white. So coming into this all, so 0. So all the values are 0 over here. Okay, so this is 0. And then once again, if you consider this one, so this is all 0. Then what are the remaining values over here? It's also 0, right? So 3 more. So it's 0 over here completely. Then this array till 24, right? Yeah. So when it comes into your just a minute. So some places you can see zeros and some places 1, right? So this is how numpy array stores your black and white images. So whenever there is black value pixels or something like that, so those values should be 0. And whenever there is white, like kind of your image or something is there, so it will store the highest value. So when we come to RGB images, right? So considering 0 and 1 is not feasible in 3 dimensions. So what we have is like, so we'll range the scale from 0 to 256. So using these values, like we'll manage this one coming into color images. So as of now, like don't worry about this one. Just for your information, I'm telling. So when it comes to NumPy array, like storing images, this would be the case for black and white images. So for color, I'll tell you in next class. Any doubts on this one?
So no doubts on this, but what about 3D images? They use voxels instead of pixels. So what is going on there?
3D images, like we'll consider in that in future classes. That is too much advanced. So three-dimensional array, like we use RGB images. So colored images will get, right. So that is three-dimensional arrays. So 3D images are different, completely different. So or else 3D models. So
Okay,
that's
sir.
your doubt.
So, because well, here we are using, I mean, we are using the width and height of the pixels. In 3D image voxels, so I was just curious.
Are you mentioning about 3D images or
No,
3D
no,
models or something like that?
3D models, 3D models.
Okay, 3D models is a completely different concept. So what you told, like we'll use some other concept, like we have to store those arrays, right? So
Yes, sir.
having this three dimension doesn't work. So three dimension is limited to your color images. So using RGB and those kind of things. So coming into 3D models, you have to use another dimensions and all. So we call them like what you told also. So
Thank you,
just
sir.
learn the basics. So this is for your knowledge. So how your computer records your images. So for black and white, 0 and 1, RGB 0 to 256, this will store 0 to 256, and then on top of each other, we'll stack the RGB images and then display it as one single color image. I'll just explain it in next class also. I'll share this in snippet. Share it in group, like you can just cross verify in some other references if you find, if you want to research more on this one, like images, like you can just refer this one. So any doubts till now? Reinitialization, like we'll see next class, like after no, next to next class we'll see from this one. So this is just like creating your arrays without human intervention. This automatically does. So I'll just show you one example also. You can try it on your own as an assignment. So I want to create a two-dimensional array with 2, 3 values and completely filled with zeros. So what I'll do is, like if I just execute this command, right? So it will automatically create that value. So I'll take it as a z variable, np.zeros 2, 3. So if I print z, right? So all zeros with 2-dimensional values should come. So if you see over here, 0, 0, 0, everything 0 values is there, right? So it automatically fills. So if I want to do the same for ones, so if you can see, automatically creates 2-dimensional array with all the values as well and zeros. So this we use because like we can't handle large amount of data, right? So when it comes to images, some images would be having a resolution arrays of 20 uh 2096, right? Yeah, 2096 cross 2096. So you can't keep on entering each and every values. So this is called array manipulation in uh, NumPy. So you can try all these methods and you can just show the output in the group. Like you can just send the screenshot output of this one. So this will be your assignment. So any doubts?
No, sir.
No,
Okay.
sir. Sir, like as you said, now you showed array utilization. That is the assignment.
Yeah, like in the presentation, I've given you array initialization examples, right? So try to execute that one, show the output. So that is for your understanding. And if you can like play around with those, like with your imaginative or creative things, if you can do with those initialization, and you can share that also.
Sir, no need to upload in Google Drive. That
No, in the group you need to upload.
yeah, okay.
So if there are no doubts, wind up this session. So there are no doubts. I'll wind up this session. Okay, thank you everyone. Have a good weekend or summer vacation, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.